Yo YouTube, what's going on? AJ here, back at it again with another video, and in today's video we're going to be going over the final 1.3 tier list. And yes guys, there have been some huge major changes. As you guys can see, we've added one more tier now to tier list, and honestly it's going to solve a lot of solutions, as well as this is our last tier list guys, but a lot of things have changed. A lot of placements are going to move up because of what's happened recently with the game, what's happened with Shorekeeper's release, as well as we're going to be talking about Jiyan, and we're going to be talking about Youhu and stuff like that. So yes, a lot of characters are going to be shifting this time around in the meta, based on what I've been seeing, based on how the game has been going. But first and foremost, if you like the content on the channel, make sure you hit a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for the support. We just hit 5K. I appreciate you guys always supporting me, growing with me, and continuing along with this gacha journey with me. And I love you all. I can't wait to record more content on future games as well as Wuthering Waves. So thank you for the support. Let's get into the video. So let's start off, and we're gonna work bottom to top, right? And we'll start off with C tier. Now C tier, last time I think I was a little bit hard on Tao Chi. There still are some Tao Chi users, and I still stand by her clunkiness of her gameplay. I do believe you need multiple resonance chains to get the max amount of resonance skill buff needed. However, there are some people that have proven a valid point that, hey, you can pull off the Tao Chi gameplay, it works for you. And plus, if you don't have a character like Jay-Z, then she's kind of like your next best option when it comes to that huge amount of, like, you know, skill buff. And plus she's good on defensively. So I think for that, we're gonna be moving Tao Chi up to B tier. Now we're gonna, before we get to Baiji, we're just gonna do Alto first. I think Alto deserves to stay in B tier. I really just think that he's not the best unit on a real team, to be honest, right? But I do understand the Alto mains. Like the Alto mains for you guys, I know you guys stand by him. He can definitely be an A tier, but in my honest opinion, there's just nothing that qualifies him in my eyes that will push him up. He's still solid, you know what I mean? But it's just like, I think you would rather prefer to use a different unit. Baiji on the other hand, right? I've realized one flaw that I have when doing this. She not only heals and she does provide buffs, you know what I mean? But the thing with Baiji, and the one thing I underestimated, was there are people out there who still do not have a Verena, right? They have just pulled for their Shorekeeper. A lot of us, or I would say the majority of the community, it feels like, does have a Shorekeeper and a Verena. But some people still don't, and they swear by Baiji, or Baija, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing your name wrong. And therefore, from that standpoint, she would be way more valuable, so she instantly just bumps up back into the A tier. Now with Calcharo, there's been something going on. There's people who have Calcharo, and we do these off the 5 stars R0, you know what I mean, and with their signature weapon or whatnot. I think with Cal, one thing that I'm seeing though is the people who are still sticking by Cal really hard have kind of perfected his rotations, his mechanics, and still enjoy playing him. They really don't care about the DPS output, right? So therefore, I'd honestly say if you're enjoying Calcharo, if you're able to pull his optimal rotation out and you're able to pull his damage, you know what I mean, in a good way, then as long as you're having fun and you're able to clear the game, he's instantly top of A tier. You know what I mean? Is S tier going too far? No, okay. You know what? Honestly, if we could put Lin Yang there, and I've seen Lin Yang clear, then I'm fine with it. Calcharo could go at the back of S tier, guys. At the back of S tier. I definitely do agree with that. Rover is another interesting case right now that I want to get into. So we're going to talk about both Rovers in a second, right? Spectro Rover, in my opinion, I'm seeing a lot of, I saw Rexland do, I think it was like a no-hit run with Spectro Rover. I've seen a lot of people do some stuff where they solo stuff with a Rover or some crazy stuff. In my opinion, I think Spectro Rover, I felt like should have been kept an A tier. However, the more people are starting to flesh out and build these characters to their max potential, guys, and just spend time in the lab or just like playing the game constantly, learning their little gimmicks and stuff like that, I think Spectro Rover also deserves to get bumped up into S tier just off what I've seen recently and going around. Donjin's an interesting one. Donjin mains are like literally still smacking everything. I think I underestimated Donjin a lot, and I have no problem. I think Donjin does not deserve to be low S anymore. I think even though there are a variety of DPSs, still, if none of the DPSs really interest you, you like that Havoc element, you like her high risk, high reward playstyle, Donjin deserves to be moved to the top of S tier right now, in my opinion. Lin Yang, I said this before, Lin Yang received a lot of buffs. Lin Yang has been clearing I know the frustration with Lin Yang and people seeing Lin Yang's placement right here is the fact that a lot of people lose their 50-50s to Lin Yang. So a lot of people have felt salty towards Lin Yang, the character, in that regard. However, when you really do build up this character, the fact that Zhang Liao's weapon is out and you can utilize that too, and the fact that he's got a character like Jay-Z, if you have that a signature weapon, you know what I mean, that's capable and build a team comp and just play with Lin Yang. Lin Yang is actually pretty strong and he's been clearing. I believe there's another creator called It's Senpai who uses Lin Yang a lot too. Shout out to him. But I've also seen 10-10 multiple times. I always like to repeat this, clear the middle floor or stuff like that, just like hard stuff with Lin Yang. So definitely I think Lin Yang still stays the same. He's still low S. I don't think he's going to move up. In fact, if we do get an ice DPS, the unfortunate reality is he may be lower than Cal and stuff like that, but I don't, as of right now, I think he's fine at where he is. Jiyan, same thing. High amount of res liberation, good CC, good. She's a jack of all trades, but instead of being an 8 out of 10, she's kind of a 9 out of 10. The only thing I can see is like some people may think her gameplay or just how her movement at some point is a little bit clunky. But honestly, I feel like with how Tower's been going with multiple enemies, you kind of do want some CC in that regard. And she does offer survivability and buffs. I still think she belongs in the S tier, middle of the pack, lower middle of the pack. Still solid character, amazing to utilize and build if you want to. Sanhua and Mortefi. Sanhua and Mortefi. So Sanhua, I think, is perfectly fine right here. There's not really much to say. She's just a solid all-around unit. Right now, Mortefi, I will say I'm going to move Mortefi up into high S tier because Mortefi feels like at this point right now, especially with Jiyan and Jiyan's upcoming rerun, right? If you have copies of Mortefi and you're excited for Jiyan, you're going to get his weapon. He's still the only like real like monster heavy attack buffer with Jiyan, and plus like he offers just anything that's tailored to Jiyan's kit. You kind of just want to run Mortefi. It's kind of like they're hand in hand right now until we get another unit that's gonna like specialize in what Jiyan needs and buffing his heavy attack, right, plus doing some other stuff. Who knows what Kuro's gonna do in the future. I don't know when. It seems like they're gonna release a sub DPS for every element, but we don't know when that's going to come. We don't know what character they're planning on releasing or what future characters they really want to mess with. So until then, I think Mortefi is high S tier, and honestly, you could argue his value just right now because he is the only person that really is catering to Jiyan, aside from, you know, your healers who can provide some buffs. I think he definitely deserves to be high S tier right now, tethering on the OP tier. Next, we have Youhu. Youhu is still set to release in about a few more days, guys. But Kuro has already talked about her kit. They've on the live stream, they did dev notes a while back. I think Youhu also definitely deserves to get bumped up. I think with Youhu, the thing with her is she's going to be a very solid support on multiple teams. Definitely going to be like with coordinated attacks, she'll be good, but I just think the random amount of buffs and her gameplay style will be fun for people. We are yet to see. I don't know if I would ever move Youhu to the OP tier just yet. I don't know. I want to get in-game testing with her completely, but definitely what she's offering for her kits and how versatile her buffs are and everything and what she provides definitely can be on multiple team comps. And then the Powerpuff Girls lineup, I mean, let's just call it what it is, guys. It's probably going to be a meme that is true, you know what I mean? And speaking of the Powerpuff Girls, you know, team, this is a perfect time to segue. We'll talk about Havoc Rover in a second. Encore. I feel like Encore, the S tier, if you looked at this list before we started changing things, I feel like I've disrespected Encore a little bit. The reason being is because Encore was a standard unit and Changli did come out, and Changli is a monster, right? But for a while, I always see Encore just wrecking havoc on the game. And the Woolly Warrior is not only getting her story quest coming out, her companion quest, which looks cool, but the Woolly Warrior definitely is somebody. It's like, dude, she's almost like a gag character at this point, like a joke character, where it's like, she reminds me kind of like of Saitama, like a One Punch Man, bro. Like, she's like, oh, I got my little puppets or the woolly puppets, right? And then just like destroys everything in the game. So definitely amazing character, definitely a great character. We're gonna put her where she belongs, in the OP tier. She's just wrecking havoc, clearing shop. Now we'll talk about Havoc Rover. I think Havoc Rover right now, I'll leave Havoc Rover in high S right now. I think this is gonna change realistically when we do get Actually, no. Okay. I'm fine with moving Havoc Rover up to about here. I think the only thing is about Havoc Rover that we're really waiting on are the 3 resonance chains. They did give something a little extra with Shorekeeper, you know what I mean, giving them a little slight buff too. I mean, Shorekeeper, realistically, why everybody's just genuinely moving up is because Shorekeeper genuinely also is buffing like everybody on the planet and changing the meta in general. But I think with Havoc Rover to get into the OP tier, 3 resin chains that eventually have to come out and they're going to have to give us really soon. Hoping maybe that they give it to us in Camellya. Maybe we get some dev notes and they reveal some news on that. Who knows, guys? And then I can't wait to see if like her and Camellya do make a team comp, right? When they do give us like Camellya's in-depth kit and details, like when Kuro Games releases that, would be nice to see, you know what I mean? Getting the 3 resident chains and putting those 2 on a team plus a Shorekeeper would definitely smack. So definitely still think Havoc Rover, amazing unit, and is only going to go up from here when they give us the last 3 copies. Encore obviously is there. Chang Li. Now, Chang Li is a little bit of an interesting one, and I think Chang Li is... Chang Li does a lot of damage. She's amazing, and she's getting more and more creative, and people are learning more and more cancels and stuff like that. And with Chang Li, I think one of the things I'm going to do is, and I want everybody to... Actually, you know what? Before we get to Chang Li, let's just do the Apex tiers. That way it makes more sense what I'm about to do. Apex tiers, I think real quick, we obviously need to know the top tier zeros, the ones you need to be must pull. Shorekeeper is number 1. Shorekeeper is number 1. Buffs the entire team, breaks the game, practically just takes every DPS and puts them on another level. Super amazing unit, must pull, beautiful, gorgeous aesthetics, everything about her is amazing. The next 2 people I'm putting up there, or rather the next person, the next 2 in general are Yinlin and Baiji. I mean, they're going to be valuable for a long time. It's not just for a short period, right? It's hard to power creep characters that aren't going to get another, like, you're not going to probably see another Yinlin or like another Electro sub DPS until Kuro gets all the other elements a sub DPS, you know what I mean? And even then, it's like, how long is that going to take? That's months on months, potentially a year and a half, you know what I mean? Before we full circle around, because we still need other characters and stuff in the game. So Baiji and not Baiji, sorry guys, Yinlin and Jay-Z or Jeja must pull broken units. And honestly, Jay-Z or Jeja, I feel like is the one of the most skipped on units, who I think people probably regret skipping on, because not only does she boost Jin C and Chang Li to a crazy level, I just maxed her out recently, and the damage output she is putting out now with her signature weapon, her at 90, weapon at 90, traces at 10, right, is ridiculous with the Shorekeeper. So definitely really great unit. Both her and Yinlin deserve the spot. And the final one in Apex tier I'm going to put is Jin C. I think Jin C right now, guys, is kind of like, man, if you play any other gachas, bro, she's kind of like this game's like Acheron. Like if you're playing HSR, she's this game's like Acheron or Firefly. Just whoever you think is like the most DPS in another gacha that you might play, that's Jin C right now. And I thought that, you know, making Shorekeeper Spectral Element, I thought maybe it might have like, you know, prevented her from going crazier, and turns out no, they just said, hey, Shorekeeper gives a lot of buffs. There's this field, by the way, when you do it up, you can like quickly swap. Yeah, Jin C, man, just nukes, man, tactical nuke incoming. And now this list starts to make sense right here. I think that if we were to go by a sustain, right, I think that this looks much better now. I think Verena deserves to be the top of OP tier. I think Zhang Liao is a monster, deserves to be top of OP tier. The only thing I'm struggling with the Zhang Liao and with the Jiyan thing right now, guys, I'm fine with Encore behind, I'm fine with Chang Li behind. Honestly, Chang Li and Jiyan at first I thought are the same, but I've had recent footage come into me with people who have fully built Jiyans right now, and the amount of damage they're putting out, and it's hard for me to go like, here they like, it's not really hard, but I'm debating it right now. Does Jiyan jump Zhang Liao right now ever since Shorekeeper's release? And it's tough to say because Zhang Liao has like a mini like you know, Jiyan nuke built in when you get that res liberation buffs to him. But Jiyan, on the other hand, man, I'm just seeing this and I'm thinking of the ease of use, the auto parry, the AoE damage plus single target damage, and then Shorekeeper releasing. Plus, we have more Tefi built with him, and you have a good Jiyan build. AoE CC, man, it's look. I'll say it like this, right? Zhang Liao is almost like a hair under right now from what I've been seeing recently. I love Zhang Liao, and this is like that. I think Zhang Liao just a foot. You know what I mean? I would say they're about the same, but I think Jiyan just right now offers still a little bit more in this kit, especially if Kuro in the future decides to release AoE gameplay content, right, guys? Like, let's say they do some AoE like endgame, right? There's a lot of people that have AoE like capabilities to like burst, you know what I mean? Jinxi's got some AoE in her kit. Shangli's got some AoE. He's got some AoE in his ult, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot and just skills and stuff like that. But this guy, man, he's got AoE, like he's got AoE damage and CC built in, you know what I mean? All in one. And right now, I think in the direction where the game is going, and after Shorekeeper buffing these units, I think this is kind of like the finished out tier list. I think for this is kind of where I'm going to finish out the tier list, guys. We did move up, you know, a lot of people. There's people who have still stayed the same. The only one I really didn't touch on in Qixia and Yang Yang and Yanwu. And Qixia, I'll put high A tier. Yang Yang, you can put Yang Yang up here. I think Yanwu is still kind of very niche into what he really does, you know what I mean? I know disrespecting Yanwu, but you know a lot of people aren't going to use him. I do think though it's only a matter of time before we get a fire sub DPS, right? And like I'm saying, like we don't know when Kuro wants to do that, and so that's why I'm keeping Qixia here. But all in all, this is kind of like my final thoughts on my tier list, guys. Hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from, and hopefully it is pretty fair. I think that's pretty fair to everybody's mains now and where I'm seeing the game and what direction the game has gone, right? I think Shorekeeper did shake up a lot of the characters in general, just buffing them and making them more serviceable. That's why a lot of the people are actually even moved up to that are good as well. But I also do think that people have started to perfect their characters, perfect their builds, and learn the gimmicks and rotations, and just like are playing it without thinking, like Ultra Instinct mode, like in Dragon Ball. But ultimately, that's it for this video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much. We're trying to be the top Wuthering Waves creator to the space. We're trying to be on the road to 10K. Okay, I love y'all. It's been your boy AJ. I'm out. Peace.